Tommy Kane's pro football career is taking off, and he and hometown girlfriend Tamara Sheikh have everything they've ever wanted, including a baby on the way. The couple is over the moon. The problem is, Tommy's not the faithful type.
Part of the perks of being an NFL football player are the women. Being young and athletic and talented and having some money. Women like that. Just so happens that most athletes like women that like that.
He was kind of still playing the field, so to speak, for many years.
Tamara seems to turn a blind eye to Tommy's tomcatting for a while.
And they'll maybe accept a certain level of infidelity because there's a lifestyle that they're afforded financially. And so, and then of course there's a breaking point to that as well.
For Tommy, it's all part of life at the top.
Everybody knew us in the neighborhood because even before that, they already knew us. So once he went pro, that just enhanced everything.
He liked to be his own person and do what he enjoyed doing. You know, he liked being independent.
Somebody take me to jail!
We all laugh and joke together in the club. We'd be dancing and stuff like that. But nothing like hardcore drinking and stuff like that. He never was a guy like that.
A lot of athletes have affairs. So it may be that that has become part of the culture. She had talked to a bunch of the other wives and girlfriends. They've dealt with the same thing, and she realizes that's just par for the course.
He sort of separated his life from hers by being across the continent a lot of the time. So even though she wasn't necessarily happy with what he's doing, it was sort of out of sight, out of mind. It was a phase that he had to go through to sort of adjust to his status as an NFL player, and that at some point he'd get past it and then they could have a nice, stable life.
They may have also had some sort of a conversation where he said to her, "You're my number one, and these people don't mean anything," and that may have been enough for her.
Combining football with long-distance fatherhood is proving to be difficult for Tommy.
Anyone can father a child, but to be a parent, to be a responsible parent, takes a level of maturity that if he's not ready for, he's not going to make that final commitment.
And it's not just his personal life that's suffering. Just months into his pro ball career, Tommy's got injuries that are giving him grief.
So what's the good news, Doc? You know, you're getting hit. You're playing wide receiver, you're getting nailed by safeties and linebackers. And then he had concussions on top of that. From the head, knees, and then the feet. You need all three for football.
Then in 1993, his football season is cut cruelly short.
It looks like you're not going to be able to play football for at least a year.
You serious?
Yes. Look, I'm sorry.
He had an ongoing problem with his Achilles heel and his hamstring. Both of those injuries do not heal well.
Tommy is a Seahawk no longer.
The first team he ever been cut from was the NFL. That's big.
These owners are investing in you. You're not just a student athlete anymore, but you're an investment. And they like their investment to pay dividends. And when it doesn't, they get rid of the investment.
The average career in the NFL is 3 1/3 seasons.
The acronym NFL technically means the National Football League, but what it really means is not for long, because the extent of the careers are very short.
Faced with the pressure of providing for a family, Tommy files grievances for compensation.
When you're hurt, you know, they cut you and they don't have to pay you anymore. And so he probably had money left on the contract and was trying to go get that money.
The claim is successful, and he wins a substantial payout. Tommy's future in football and the livelihood of his young family are anything but certain.
It took about a year for Tommy to feel that he was back in good enough shape that he could play again.
You don't back down, you're tough, you fight through adversity, you fight through the hard times, you fight through your physical pain, your emotional pain, you ignore your physical pain, you ignore your emotional pain. That's the way that you become successful in that game.
The following year, he's drafted by the Toronto Argonauts in a move that brings him back to Canada and closer to his girlfriend and infant son.
Going from the NFL to the CFL, You're talking about making a fraction of the money. In prestige, it's a big drop down. It would have been a bitter pill to swallow.
Regardless, Tommy donates an entire year of his Argos salary, $65,000, to Montreal's West End Sports Association, which saved him from the streets in the early days. Little does he know, his days in Toronto are numbered.
He just wasn't up to the standards that he needed to be in athletics to play pro football anymore, whether it was in Canada or the US.
When the injuries catch up to you, it doesn't matter where you're playing. If you can't get it done, you can't get it done.
At the age of 30, Tommy Kane's career in professional football is over.
I think he was dealing with that like any other athlete would deal with that. Like, it's just like a boxer who's boxing, making millions of dollars. You got the crowd screaming and yelling and all that, and then that's not happening anymore.
People who are truly grounded and know who they are and just happen to play football are the ones that successfully make that transition from, being a superstar to someone, an average member of society.
There's one silver lining on this dark cloud. Finally, Tommy and Tamara can really be together in the same city.
You'll be all right. You were amazing. And I'm proud of you. Seriously.
But his homecoming is met with mixed emotions.
I assume it would be difficult for Tammy to pick up the pieces. It would be rough on any family after having your husband's career go downhill like that.
It had to be hard for her because she was doing the breadwinner now. She was doing her thing, getting her check, but you gotta live like a family.
She was quiet, but she carried a big stick, that she was respected and she had authority in the family, and she was keeping the home together.
Tommy immerses himself in the community, volunteering as a coach with the West End Sports Association.
He missed being involved in sports. He missed the entourage that comes with being involved in sports, whether that was as an announcer or as a spokesperson. He did more than just be an inspiration. He actively encouraged these kids. He became their role model. He was their hero. He was playing basketball with them, baseball. He was coaching them in football.
He was always the type of person to do good. Like he went back to his community. He never forgot where he came from.
Working with children is rewarding, but it doesn't put food on the table. While Tamara continues to work as a manager at a downtown Montreal bank, Tommy has to find a new career and regain his confidence.
Before, he had all kinds of people telling him how wonderful he was and how successful he was, and all of those ego things that he was used to. And then all of a sudden, that's all cut off, and Tammy is the only person who was giving it to him.
Finally, Tommy lands a job as a radio commentator for Montreal's football team, the Alouettes. But the gig is up after a single season. His marketing degree and some good connections land him an even better paid job in promotions at Universal Studios Orlando. But it's also short-term.
This long-distance relationship was happening again, where she would fly back and forth from Montreal to Florida. And eventually he decided that he wasn't happy there.
When you have that sort of tumultuous career, you want to go back to where people know you. You want to go back to where you're somebody. And I think that was Montreal for him.
Honey, I'm so sorry.
Sorry, baby. Let's just go home, all right? Things change.
What happened?
Let's just go home, all right?
Hey, it's not gonna be so bad.
Short on cash and in need of a place to stay, the struggling family of 3 moves into Tamara's mother's house.
It was her mother and Tammy who did most of the childcare.
And it's pressure on him to get a job, to get out of there as a man and get a job and buy his own house.
He was just trying to find his way. He was just trying to find that passion, that excitement that can take the place of football.
Faced with uncertainty, the couple agrees to make one thing in their lives stable.
Yeah, I was up all morning preparing this for you.
Oh,
you ready for it?
All right.
You sure?
Yes. Bring it on, baby.
There it is.
Nearly a decade into their relationship and 5 years after the birth of their son, Tommy and Tamara plan a summer wedding.
He mentioned that he was serious about getting married, and we never really thought that would happen.
Wow, it's gorgeous. Are you serious? Oh my God.
A lot of guys from my neighborhood, they don't really get married. They might just have a girl, they have kids, and they just live like that.
Wait, I got one more thing for you, all right?
What?
For most of their relationship, she was the one who wanted the commitment, and he was the one who seemed to be afraid of that commitment.
And he just wanted to make sure it was right. He wanted to make sure he can hold up to his end of the bargain, and once he was committed, that he would be committed forever.
After 9 years, Tommy's sure. They marry and move out of Tamara's mother's house into their own. But soon, Tommy will be committed in a way Tamara could never have imagined.
She embodies his failed marriage. She embodies his failed fatherhood. She just embodies all of that.
It got to the point of stalking, and she wanted it to stop.
When fallen NFL star Tommy Kane spirals into a cocaine-fueled depression, his mother and her friend from church call his estranged wife Tamara to help stage an intervention that erupts into explosive violence.
The next thing the church worker says is she hears Tammy screaming. And she goes into the kitchen and she sees Tommy dragging her by the hair and smashing her head into the floor. The church worker runs over and is screaming at Tommy to stop it. And she sees him reach back onto the counter and grab a knife. And she actually manages to grab the knife from him. And he had grabbed a second knife and stabbed her in the throat. The church worker basically holds her as she passes away.
Tamara was trying to save him, and she did it at the cost of her life.
Tamara is pronounced dead in the hospital, and Tommy Kane, former NFL star and hometown hero, is arrested and charged with second-degree murder.
Words can't even describe how I felt. Surreal seems to come to mind. It's just, you think it's not really happening. You see stuff like that in the paper. It's a devastating story then, but to have it so close to home and to be someone that you befriended, it's that much more traumatic.
The Tommy Kane that I knew is gone. That football player, that friend is gone. And there's a different man here. And personally, that's how I had to look at it, he was not the Tommy Kane that I played college football with.
Tamara's gone too, and for her family, that's a much bigger loss.
What's going to happen to his children now? You know, what's going to happen to the family? What's going to happen to his mom? These are the things that bothered me.
In the wake of the killing, the children are taken in by Tamara's sister, who is beside herself with grief.
It was hard to console her, and all she said to me was, what am I going to do with these kids?
For the close-knit community of Little Burgundy, the impact of Tommy's crime and Tamara's death is immediate and tragic.
A lot of the people I spoke to said it would be like your second-grade teacher had killed somebody. Almost 2 generations of young people had been influenced by him, had met him, were coached by him. The Reverend at the Union United Church had opened up the doors and invited people just to come in, whether they just wanted to sit and pray or talk or just try as a group to cope with this shock of what had happened. It looked like a room of young people who obviously they couldn't absorb what they were hearing. That this man that they looked up to could have done something like this. Tommy Kane, he was like the hero that you would see in a movie where somebody from a really bad neighborhood gets out, does good, and then you hope it has a happy ending. And in this case, it was the opposite of a happy ending.
It just broke a lot of people down, though, people that helped build them up.
Shock soon turns to outrage when Tommy pleads not guilty to the second-degree murder charge.
No one was disputing what he'd done. His mother saw it. There was a church worker there who saw it. What was in dispute was whether he meant to do it, which would have meant a murder charge and conviction, or if he didn't have that intent, then it would be manslaughter.
And manslaughter would carry a much lighter sentence.
There were women's groups who were concerned that because Tommy was a famous athlete, they wanted to make sure that it wouldn't be another OJ, that he would be punished accordingly. And they wanted to draw attention to the fact that this was a domestic violence case and not a football player on trial case.
In the days following Tamara's brutal killing, it's revealed that Tommy has a history of violence, all the way back to his arrest at Syracuse University, after the true nature of his altercation with a police officer is revealed.
I believe she put her hand inside the car as he was trying to pull away. And he actually dragged her a few feet. That's the story that I heard.
And he assaulted her. He beat her up. And somehow he was given community service for that.
I love to see somebody who's had a challenging background be given an opportunity to rise above it and set an example that people actually can, whether they should or not, follow. And so when somebody squanders those opportunities, it makes me angry. It sort of illustrates how the United States and Canada as well put way too much stock in those people who, other than on the athletic field or in the singing arena or whatever it is that they do, there's really no reason to expect them to be better people or immune to any of the foibles and everything that anybody else has.
The fact that there are 4 children who are being raised without any parents, the one quality parent is dead and the other parent is in jail, it breaks my heart.
In 2004, court-ordered psychiatrists agree that Tommy was literally out of his mind when he killed Tamara.
At that point, he was devastated that she was dead. He was devastated that his children wouldn't have lost both parents.
He said, what if my kids never want to speak to me again? That's what he said to me. I said to him, but that's all too late now. You should have thought about all that before. I said, you gotta live with that, Holmes.
Tommy pleads guilty to the lesser charge of manslaughter, but he doesn't get off easy.
He was given 18 years for manslaughter, which is really a very heavy sentence for manslaughter. That is the kind of sentence you would expect from basically a murder conviction.
7 years after Tamara's death, Tamara's sister, who has custody of the children, is awarded compensation from the jailed former football star.
She was eventually granted a little less than $600,000. Part of that was child support, but also it was for all of the pain and suffering that the children have endured up until that point.
The former Seahawk sells the house he bought for his mother in order to pay for damages. But no amount of money will bring Tamara back to her children.
I went with a friend to visit the sister, and I saw the kids at the top of the stairs, just being kids, just being happy little kids, smiling, and I had to turn my back, go outside and cry. And the sister said to me, oh, don't worry about it. It happens to me a lot. I have to hide and cry because I don't want, the kids to see me cry.